Assalamu alaikum. I'm Brother Billy.
Assalamu alaikum, and I'm Adnan.
Today we have an individual who was slightly kept out of the mix due to the controversy that involved Adnan and Craig. This individual is a highly educated person. She is an activist in her own right when it comes to human rights. She is the chairwoman of 3 different charity organizations. And now she's running for MP of Blackburn. We introduce NATASHA SHAH.
Thank you for inviting us over to your house. We've got a few straightforward questions for you. We want to know about your background, who is Natasha, and where you're from.
Yeah, I was born in Oldham, and then when I was 7, I moved to Blackpool, and I grew up there. And I moved from there about 2 years ago to Blackburn. So I've lived in Blackpool for most of my growing up time. And then I moved here 2 years ago because I wanted a change. I wanted to move where I felt there was more of a community because in Blackpool there wasn't that much of a community there. So I wanted to come and see and live a different kind of life, and that's why we came to Blackburn.
Education-wise, working, what did you get up to when you were in Blackpool? When you were growing up in Blackpool?
Yeah, basically, I'm educated. I've got a couple of degrees. I'm still studying at the moment.
What degrees did you have?
I've done them in business. I've studied a bit of law. I support people with their immigration cases through our charity. Like, I'm a qualified interpreter, so I interpret as well. But the most work that I did in Blackpool was we opened a masjid in Blackpool.
Sorry to cut you off. What's it called?
Noor Medina. And during that time, I was working on a TV station based in Blackburn called Umma Channel, so I was always in Blackburn at the time. And we opened the masjid, and we regularly had ulamas from Blackburn to come to Blackpool to meet the community there, because there is a community, but it's a small community. And we wanted to grow that because people would go to Blackpool for the day out, but the elders felt left out. So we had a masjid where the elders could come and sit in the masjid, have tea and coffee, do the namaz, do the salah, have somebody to speak to while the young ones are going and enjoying themselves. So we tried to make it like a community hub in Blackpool for people to, even if they were coming out of town, to come and use. So it wasn't just for the locals, but it was for everybody.
The masjid, is it in central Blackpool?
Yeah, the masjid is on Waterloo Road. We had 2 sites and we had to close one. The one that we've got now, because we were struggling with planning permission so much, it was quite in the headlines. BNP and EDL targeted us really badly. So they would come and smash the windows, smash the cars. I was physically attacked. So it was a constant battle with them. And then they used different communities to come and target us by saying, oh, well, the Quran says that you shouldn't be here. So then they would come and say, well, look, Natasha, do you want me dead? And I was like, no, we're all here living together. It's not about that. So our mosque was the first mosque that had non-Muslims on the committee, so that they could see that we're not doing anything behind the doors. Everything is there in front of you. And it's Allah's house, and it's for all of you to come in. And I remember the thing that stuck in my head was we got a member of the EDL who hate practically everybody. They got one guy to come knocking on our door to say, well, you want us dead because I'm gay. And I was like, well, no, brother. You're still my brother. Whatever you do in your own house, that's your own business. But you're still my brother. And he's like, well, I wanted a Quran, so I've ordered it online. I said, well, you should have just asked me. I would have given it you. And he's like, well, why would you want to? Because you don't like me. I said, well, no. Who says that I don't like you? We're here to talk. And without talking, and then we invited them in. And when they saw the masjid inside, it was actually, it's really peaceful. There's nothing scary.
I've actually been to the mosque because I used to work in Blackpool every now and then, and I think I know which one you're talking about. It's a really nice environment in the mosque, especially because I'm not from Blackpool. So usually sometimes when you go to some mosques and you're not a local there, you do get some elders looking at you like, what are you doing in this place? This is our mosque. I didn't get nothing like that. And then I made that my Friday, whenever I was working in Blackburn on Friday, that was my one
Mashallah.
place to go. So I know exactly which masjid you're
Yeah,
talking
and
about.
it's about. I just feel that the mosque is Allah's house. It's for everybody.
Yeah.
And we used to get people that were non-Muslims, but they were struggling because they were either leaving alcohol, leaving drugs. Maybe they split up with their partner. They were like, "Can we come in?" I was like, "Yeah, of course you can." They'd have a brew. They'd sit down, have a talk, and they felt light, and they could go back telling people, "Well, the Muslims actually listen to us." So that's always been my aim. With me being mixed race, I'm a Muslim. I'm a proud Muslim, and I've had the choice of looking at both cultures, and I've chosen Islam as it's my faith. It's so beautiful. I want everyone to know about it. And as soon as we put in barriers that, well, you're from this culture and you're from this, that we're never going to get anywhere. And I'm passionate about that, because we should all be. It shouldn't be about what faith, gender, or culture or religion you come from. We should all get together, because that's how we're going to learn from each other.
I'd like to ask a bit about family values.
Yeah, I'm an only child.
Okay.
And I have 4 children of my own, and my husband's got 6, so we've got 10 between us.
Wow,
Alhamdulillah, and they're all doing really well. One's graduated, one is graduating in a week's time. They're all in education. They're all very, very active speakers when it comes to issues like this.
Right.
So Alhamdulillah, me doing this is rubbing off on the children, because they also want to be actively involved and speak out, help me. Like my posters, my son designed them for me. So I am keeping my whole campaign with my family involved in it, because it's important to have all your family supporting you.
Of course.
And hopefully I want them to carry that on when I'm not here.
What do your family think of you running?
Everyone's supportive, even my mum. My mum is paralysed, so she's ill. So obviously I have to care for my mum as well as doing all this. And she was like, "No, you've got to do it, because people need to know that there's another option for them. And without you standing, it's just the normal, sorry to say it, but it's just the normal kind of people standing every time. And I'm a little bit different. Don't know if that's good or bad, but I am a little bit different. And my mum was also saying, look, you need to do it. My husband's supporting me, children supporting me. So, I was like, well, if everyone's supporting me, why not?
You mentioned just now that you were a different candidate among the 2 that are already standing. What makes you different to Adnan and Craig?
The difference with me, I am very passionate for my religion, and I'm very passionate for what's happening in Palestine and from all these other issues that are happening around the world. But I also feel that humanity is the main thing, and I live and work for humanity. So if somebody came from a different culture, a different faith, I would never close a door on them, because then people are the vulnerable people, and we need to sit and talk with them and help them. And that's how you're going to support communities. It's not about segregating. Even if you don't speak I mean, we've just had somebody who's contacted our charity who's from Iran. Now, I can't speak that language. We have people from Turkey. I can't speak that language, but we will somehow make way to communicate. And I also believe that love is the best way of communicating. And when you show someone respect, they're going to open up to you, and that's when you can actually help them. I don't want people to be scared to come to me and say, look, Natasha, I've got this problem. Could you help me? I want them to feel that they can just come, and I'm always going to be there for them, no matter who they are.
Whilst we're still on the family values subject, I'd like to ask, firstly, how difficult has it been for you as a woman running as a candidate? Have you had any backlash from the communities, or has it been a good response? And also juggling family life with running as a candidate.
I'll answer that in 2 parts. The first part about the community, I've had a lot of women ring me and say, thank you, sister, for doing this, because we wouldn't be able to do it, but you're doing it. It's giving us hope, because there's somebody there that's going to listen to our issues that we have. As for the male, the males in the community, I've been getting really, when I've been going out door knocking, to be honest, they're all like, sister, it's really good what you're doing. A few though, like the big scholars, when I've spoken to them, because I've known them from back in the day with the masjid, they're like, sister, why are you doing this? Like, why? You shouldn't be in politics. you know, and why are you doing it? It's just wrong. Like, and that sort of upset me because, you know, like, why? Where does it say that you can't? You know, in Islam, where does it say that? So that did sort of upset me, but I'm just carrying on because I know what I'm doing. I'm in my boundaries of Islam. I'm never going to come out of those boundaries. And as long as I follow what I believe in truly, I've only got Allah to answer to. I'm going to keep going. As for the family bit, it is hard because obviously with the children, school, you know, one child's ill or something's happening or sports day. My mum, it's hard, but you've got to think about, you've got to balance. And even our Prophet ﷺ balanced their day out. You know, this amount of the time was for the family, this was for the community, this was for their prayers. So we should all be doing that, all of us, you know. So as long as we plan it, we can manage it.
So I always thought that it might be a bit back-minded, but as a wife, mother, like, you're pulling yourself thin, if you know what I mean. Like, you've got your kids, you've got a husband, you've got a house, you've got, obviously some are much older now, which they can look after themselves and help.
Yeah.
But like, don't you feel like it's a lot for yourself to do like this stuff and then that stuff, and then, you know, go to a campaign, going knocking on doors, going to see people, looking after your mother, looking after the kids, the house, like, the list is endless. Throughout this whole journey, how supportive have your immediate family, i.e. your kids and your husband, been for you?
Very supportive. I'm lucky that my mum is. We have a package for her where carers do go in, and because of the work that I do, you know, they now see me as a sister. Although they come and support my mum, it's like, Baji, you know, I've got a problem, so they know, like, if they've got a problem, I'll solve it anyway. So if I need them for extra time, they're willing to put that in. They've even been making me rotis. Do you know what I mean? So that just proves, you know, that they what I'm doing, they know that it's a worthy thing to do. As for my husband, you know, bless him, he's cooking, he's helping with cleaning. My kids as well, they're all there. Even my little 5-year-old, she was like, you know, give me some leaflets. I can take them in my school bag and give them to my friends.
That's cute.
And then they can give them to their mums. And I've done your job for you. You know, I was like, oh, thank you, you know.
That's cute.
So, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, alhamdulillah. You know, I've always, for the last 16 years, I've been doing charity work. So I've always been running thin. So it's nothing new for me now. It's just a different thing that I'm doing.
You're experienced in that manner, so you like the structure balancing that you were saying, you know, from previous projects, that how to do it.
Running the masjid, like, it didn't start 9 till 5. Like, you know, it's really, really late on, because I could get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning saying, sister, off another sister, I've got this issue. Please, can you get a dua for me? Please, can you, you know, explain what's halal, what's haram, what's going on? I was getting requests day and night. Then you've got to think about people not only from the UK contacting you, people in different time zones. So it never stops, you know. And if somebody dies in the community, they need you. So it was never a 9 to 5. For the last 16 years, I've never done a 9 till 5 because it's when you need me, I have to be there.
So at the beginning of the podcast, Bilal introduced you as a person who's involved in 3 different charities, which obviously you're the chair lady of.
Yeah.
What are those 3 charities that you are in?
Right, the first one is Vacare, so it's vacation and care put together, and it's for disabled people to try and get them out. So it could be locally, so we could take them on a day trip to Blackpool, for instance. Or it could be that they want to go a bit further afield, they haven't got family that can take them. So they might want to go on, say, a pilgrimage. They might want to go to Turkey, to the shrines in Turkey, but there isn't anybody there. So what we do is we try and find out what everybody wants to do, and we try and make a package where we can take them and make sure that there's somebody there that can take care of them while we go. You know, obviously I'm trialing new things all the time. I took my mum to Pakistan, which, with a stroke, getting her on a plane, swapping planes, it was major. You know, so I need to know physically what is included in that. So we're always planning little things, even if it's just taking them to the shops or giving them that time. You know, if there's a mehfil in the masjid and they might want to go, It's taking them. Or if we can't take them, is there any way that we could have it live streamed in their houses for them? So it's always thinking of something that's vocational that can support them while they're disabled at the same time. And they don't have to be elderly.
So cool.
It could be like young people as well.
That's cool
So-
because I have a cousin, 2 cousins, and they're both disabled. They're able to walk, talk. They've got all. They're 20. One's 24, I think, and one's 23. And you mentioned that. I'm gonna tell my auntie about it because that's something she'd want to do
Yeah.
for the kids. Because
Yeah.
kids like them, they're stuck at home most of the time, and it's hard for the mother and the father to always take them because they're working as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went to school and stuff, but now they've finished everything and
Yeah.
I'm just at home. So
And
it's
it
a good
is
idea.
like, you know, even if it's just a trip to Blackpool, but if there's people there that can take care of them, making sure that if they do become ill, there's something there available for them. And we're in the process of doing a care company as well, which is going to work with that. So during their care package, we will take them out as well. Because a lot of times you get care packages and they go in, they'll just do a little job and they'll go home, and that person's then left all day on their own. You know, so even if it's somebody going in for an hour to sit and read with them, they might not be able to hold the Quranic bag, but they need somebody to sit with them or help them do wuzu.
Yeah.
So we want to do a care company that does all of that as well, because the spiritual helps with the mental health.
Yeah, definitely.
The second charity is Ayub Sultan Trust. Now, it's called that because obviously I go to Turkey quite a lot, and you know, I love going to Ayub Sultan's shrine. So I named the charity after them. That's for domestic violence victims. So we support that, and it's not just for females, it's men as well. In our community, it's very hard for a man to come out and say that this is happening, but it does happen. So we support both. So they might be here on a spouse visa, and then the visas, they basically say, we're cancelling the visa, you're sending you back, wherever. Then people don't have anyone to go to. They're worried about the izzat and basically in their family. There's so many aspects of that. So we support them with housing, with benefits, with getting a job, with their immigration. So we do all that. So we do that as a package. So whatever that person needs, it might be that they're British and they live here, but unless you've been in that situation, you don't know. But it's so hard to get out of that situation and then start your life again. So we support that. I mean, we've supported a young lady. We've never done this before, but she got a house from you know, the council, but it was in a really bad state. You know, like the walls were really thick and horrible. So we went, we scraped all the walls, we plastered in holes for her, we painted it, so the house was ready for her to move in.
Yeah.
So if we wouldn't have done that,
She would have been.
Sort of
stuck.
been-
she was
Yeah.
stuck. She was stuck in this emergency accommodation with so many people that she was scared of coming out of a room from, and she was already suffering mentally. So, as our charity is, although that I run the charity, I will come out and paint if they need it. If they need the garden doing, I'll do the garden. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't feel that anybody is superior from anyone else. And if you're really passionate about your charity and your cause, you'll do it.
You'll be
You
on
won't
the
ask
front line,
somebody else. Yeah. And
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
third charity, which is a controversial charity,
Okay.
is Purple Souls, and it's called Purple Souls because if you put blue and pink together, it makes purple. And we support Muslim LGBTQ children. We don't promote it that, like, you know, we don't promote LGBTQ as in like, you know, it's a really good thing to do, you need to join it. It's not like that. We support those children that come out, but their families don't want to have anything to it. Like, they think that if we ignore it, it'll just go away. Well, it's not going to go away. So we support them children. A lot of them get sent out on the road. They end up getting abused, getting used. Then they'll go, because the only other charities that support them are the English charities, the non-Muslim charities. So obviously, then they start leaving the deen. So we want to keep them in the deen. And I believe that if they're in the deen and they keep practicing as a Muslim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide them. And Allah is the only one who can judge and make that decision, not us. And by us pushing that child out, we are doing a big sin by doing that as well. You know, and I know so many people that come to me and say, look, Natasha, you know, if this happened in my house, I know exactly what you're doing and I support you 100%. But if it happened in my house, I know my extended family would tell me to kick my child out. And we're lucky because we know you, because we'll send them to your house. And I was like, yeah, but how many children could I have in my house? You know what I mean? Like, this is what our charity does. So it's, people take it the wrong way. They hear the word LGBTQ and all sorts of things jump in their head. you can't put this under the carpet, you know, and you need to deal with it head on.
About your stance as an MP, what is your campaign about?
Basically, I'm standing as an independent because of all the atrocities that are happening in Palestine. So that was the main reason that I got involved in this. I got involved in the local elections with the Independent Party to stand in Mill Hill. And from then on, obviously, I've now re-stood again for the MP seat. And I'm standing for Palestine. We need a ceasefire. We need to stop this from happening. But it's not just happening in Palestine. Things are happening all the time. So this is the main reason that I'm behind it, because obviously Labour and Conservative, what they're doing, it's just, there's no words for it. No words for it at all. And I also just want to stand for the local community, because moving here, I've got a different insight because I've lived in a different town. It's got so many positive things, but it has got quite a lot of negative things, like criminal activities here. Like, I would never have thought, like, there's a lot of drug dealing happening, cars getting broken into. Like, I would have thought Blackpool would be more, but actually it's less.
Really?
It's less. This is really bad compared, going out in the evening, it's more scary here than in Blackpool.
Jeez, I did not expect someone to say that.
Yeah, it is, you know.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, then there's fly tipping as well. It's so bad. Rats, they're as big as cats, and in Blackpool, you're lucky if you get a field mouse in your house.
Right, okay.
So, if you think about it, and Blackpool's so transient, where people are just coming and going, you'd think it'd be worse. This is a settled area where there's communities, like your fathers, your grandparents have lived here, you've grown up here, then you'll have your kids here. But why are these situations still here? We need to stop this. So that's another thing. And then the third thing is obviously the way people drive around here as well. It's so dangerous. Like, you worry for your children, you worry for yourself. So I just feel that there's a lot of things that need to be done, which can be done, but it actually needs to be an active thing that we do. We can't just like say, okay, now I'm an MP and I'm not doing it. You need to do this. You need You need to take action.
Yeah.
So the bigger picture obviously is Palestine, and that's why we're all standing. And I presume the other two candidates are standing for the same reasons. But locally,
Can't be forgotten.
So much things that we need to be doing.
Yeah.
And if a town that's so transient like Blackpool can do it better, why aren't we doing it here?
See, out of all of the other candidates that we've interviewed, you're the first person that's talked about the way driving is in Blackburn. We actually have a full podcast dedicated to the rough, scary, whatever kind of driving, because we're quite passionate about that kind of stuff, and especially our platforms were car-based platforms when we first started. And you're the first person to actually
It's scary. It's scary,
And even the loud noises on the cars.
Yeah.
Like, we're sleeping at 12 o'clock, and then you just hear a rumble go past that wakes you up.
Well, it's not even that. I went to the train station to pick my son up from the train station. I'm sat in the car, my little 5-year-old sat there. 2 cars come and they've speeded and started doing wheelies in the car park and then just parked up. And I'm like, what's that? Like, what was the need for it? And my little girl's going, have they had an accident? And I'm like, no, they just parked up. But, this is what our children are seeing. Yeah. And, like, I've had people sat in my car that are not from here, so they've come to visit and, like, we've gone out. And, like, not to be racial in any way, but it's like driving back home.
It's just
it's not
everywhere.
I mean, luckily my son had his dash cam on, and we literally went like a 10-minute drive, and he nearly had a car accident 3 times, and it wasn't his fault. And it was all recorded on there, and like, it's just mad.
So we were speaking to Craig and Adnan, and I feel like running for MP for the cause of Palestine, is it true that there's not much else you can do but speak up for them in Parliament?
In terms of if an MP was to, and I guess what we're trying to say is, running for the sake of Palestine is good, but essentially the main reason why we're running, why everyone should be running, is for their hometown.
100%.
And because, in all honesty, an MP can't really do much
Other than
for
speak
the
up.
sake of Palestine apart from speak up and oppose certain things. It's not like the budget's going to go to Palestine. It's things like that, and it almost feels as if certain other people are using Palestine as heartstrings. I'm not going to mention who, but using Palestine as heartstrings, whereas some of the stuff you've just mentioned, not the other candidates haven't mentioned when it comes to Blackburn, which we're quite impressed about.
Yeah.
What's your thought on using Palestine to get votes?
I think that we're all passionate about Palestine, and it's right to be passionate about Palestine. And I don't think you have to be Muslim to be passionate for Palestine. But I feel that using that just to get your votes is quite low, really, because people are dying, and you're using that just to get in power. Yeah. I feel that, as an MP, you should know that town, and you should feel what that town needs. And I keep getting people saying to me that you weren't born here, you've just come. Well, it's been 2 years, and I can see a difference. And I'm marking it with another town that is quite, you would think it was worse, right? And I'm seeing the difference, and I've seen how they've corrected those issues in that town. And I feel with that experience, I can bring that here and make Blackburn so much better and so much safer. And I just feel that just saying, well, I was born here or I've worked here for so long doesn't hack it with me. You need to have seen a difference and bring a better difference here and make this town the best town it can be. And it's not just about Palestine. And I just feel that just, going out on a rally, saying the same things over and over again is not actually doing anything for this town or for the Palestinians. That's just my personal view.
So a bit more about your campaign. So we've been to Adnan's camp, we've been to Craigmurray's camp. They seem to have a lot more financial backing, let's just say that. Why is it that the other candidates' campaigns seem to be funded more, but you've chosen to keep it in your family and in your own home?
2 reasons, really. First reason is that I do charity work, and when people hear charity work, they think straight away that I'm raising funds and I'm collecting funds. I don't. Most of the funds that get spent is from our own pocket. So obviously I just try and balance my own spendings when I feel that if I use this less, I can support someone else in a different place. So for me, wasting a fund on an office and thousands of leaflets that there's not enough time to give out. I mean, I was invited to Craig's office. I've not been to Adnan's office, and there was thousands and thousands and thousands.
Has Adnan invited you to come?
No, he hasn't. Thousands and thousands of leaflets all up the stairs, and there's not enough days for all of them to be delivered. Then there's banners and stickers and posters going up everywhere. And I just feel that that's so unnecessary. One, for the climate, because are they actually going to go and rip all these down and recycle them? Okay. And secondly, all the money that they wasted, when that money could have actually gone, because they say that Palestine is really important. I'm constantly getting messages through my charity from Palestinians over there saying, help us, we need money, we need food, we need to get out of here. That money could have gone to that. So I've kept it in my house. Also, I've not fundraised, like a lot of them are fundraised for these leaflets. So communities have donated for this. And one of the questions was yesterday as well in one of the groups was, one's now stepped down, Tiger.
Yeah, yes.
What's going to happen with all these donations? Yeah. So you've got answers to all this. So I thought, well, I'm going to do it. The money that I put in, it's from my own family, my own pocket. I don't believe in making any of you pay for it because I'm standing and I know that I'll be good for this job. So I've put my money where my mouth is, and I've not asked anyone else. And I'm not a big business person. I'm just somebody who runs charities trying to support the community. So for me, running from home is the best thing that I could ever do. And I've even put my address and my telephone number on my leaflets, which a lot have hidden as well. And I've not hidden any of my details because I know what I'm doing is right and I'm proud of it, and I've made sure that everyone is welcome.
Would you say in a way then them restricting an office, leaflets and stuff like that, and banners and promotion in a way. Has that not diminished the numbers, or do you think that the numbers are still going to be there?
You know, it's a hard question because you don't know until the day. People say to your face they're going to vote for you, and then someone else comes and say we're going to vote for you as well. So you don't know until they've actually voted.
True.
To be fair, I've had people that have said to me, look, I'm sorry because I've already voted and I haven't voted you, but if I would have spoke to you earlier, I would have voted you. But I just feel that because the town is painted with these banners, they think that they've got high numbers of votes, and I don't think it necessarily matters, really. I think it is more about actually, you know, I've had to pay to put these banners up in on walls, or was it free? That's another question that comes to my mind, because I know if you pay, they'll let you stick anything anywhere. So that's one question that, you know, does that mean that he's actually going to support you? Because I know one shop in Whalley Range has all of the banners on. So he's not supporting one of them. So the vote could go to any three of them. So I don't necessarily believe that that means he's won. He might have lots of votes, and I wish him all luck. But I just feel that I've not gone that way because I don't want to waste the money. I don't want to, you know, if somebody's going to vote for me, they're going to vote for me.
For the right reasons.
Yeah, for the right reasons.
So as me and Billy, we've both been born and raised in Blackburn. We've been here our entire lives. We've noticed crime has shot up. It hasn't gone better at any point in our lives. Especially either youth clubs are not readily available or they've just shut down. Because when we were kids, there was loads. But now there's no youth centres anymore for kids. So their energy's gone into the wrong things. If you were elected, what would you do to better this problem we have in Blackburn?
This is the first thing that I saw when I stood in the last election, especially in Mill Hill. There's a community centre and it's always locked. There's a library and it's open for a couple of hours. Now, how can a community, you know, what's going to happen with them children? So they're going then on the park, breaking the park up. So there's not a proper park for the little children. They're going and stealing things. They're climbing into people's gardens because there's nothing for them to do. They're bored. Now, one of my ideas at that time, which I am still going to pursue, whether I win or don't, in Mill Hill and in all the other areas, is that there needs to be, like they have a youth zone in Blackburn, there needs to be somewhere where there's activities, even if it's just gaming. If you get them so they know that at 6 o'clock, gaming club starts, they're all going in there, playing games, they're off the street, they're all doing something that's safe, that relatively doesn't cost that much money, but you know where they are, what they're doing. Football clubs, I think there needs to be more football clubs that will accept children that are not, maybe football isn't the thing for them, but they like it, they enjoy it. But you find teams just want the best to play. So we need teams that will take on a mixed variety of children. And that's one of the things that I'm looking at, is starting a football team for all to join. And it doesn't matter of the abilities, for them to make friends, some to keep them busy, learning new skills. And obviously the gaming situation. I was invited to a Go Slow meeting in Mill Hill at the community centre, and it's about, you know, the rivers and talking about you know, parks and everything like that. So it was a meeting about that, and then they were going to like offer food for people. It was at Mill Hill Community Centre. It was all booked. Everyone turned up. It was locked. So they ended up sitting in the park. So this is the issues. Whereas, like, also felt like here as well, like the library. I've always known that the library, if you've got an event, so you want to do gaming, for instance, or I don't know, anything, or playing board games, art. I used to do art in Blackpool. So if you wanted to do an art club for children, the library would facilitate that for free. Here in Blackburn, you have to pay for everything. Nothing is free with the council in Blackburn. Blackburn Council should be offering that to the libraries so that they can then offer that to little community groups who actually do so much in the community. A little art club where they can just go for a couple of hours, make the mess, have somebody sit there and teach them how to make, I don't know, little boats for the river, whatever, you know, to keep them interactive so they can go home and tell their parents what they've learned. Kids need that, and we don't have any of that here in Blackburn, not at all.
How would you help food banks, people who are like in poverty, can't feed their children. How would you help them as an MP?
Well, this is a big issue that we have with food, and it's because obviously all the prices are going up, and it all happened after Brexit as well. So we were all struggling. But I do feel that, you know, food banks need to be supported. There needs to be more food banks available to people. And these packages that you can get, I know that a lot of people can get these packages, but it's only like it'll last you for 2 weeks. But if you've got a big family, you might need 2 of them. And at the moment, you're only allowed to buy one. So once you've bought one, you can't buy another one until 2 weeks later. So if you've got a big family, that one packet isn't going to last you 2 weeks. So that needs to be changed. So I think the way people are accessing it needs to be changed so that if they need it more, they're not stopped from needing it more. And I feel that puts people off. And especially if they've got children or themselves that are, say, lactose intolerant or so many other things that they might be. They might have diabetes, they might have all sorts of other things. So the food that they need needs to be specialist. You find sometimes the food banks are like, well, what's in there, you take it and that's it.
You get what you get.
So then that gets wasted. So really, I think we need to work with food banks to educate them so that we're making packages that can suit certain households without discriminating them.
After speaking to you about your campaign details and what you stand for, I think the way I would describe you moreover than everyone else would be the people's candidate, because it seems like you not only are you just saying things like we need to help the people and we need to help the people of the children and so on and so forth, but you're actually doing it as well. You've got charities set up and you've got all these other ideas that you're coming up with which we've not heard. And we've done almost 2.5 hours worth of interviews with other people and we've not heard this kind of stuff, which is really, really refreshing to hear. So now we're going to move over to the controversial questions that surround Blackburn MP candidates. The first controversial question I want to ask you that doesn't involve them, well, kind of does. Do you think you're going to get a larger number of votes than any of the independent or the Workers' Party candidates?
It's very hard for anybody to say that because until they're all counted, you don't know. People tell you that they're going to vote for you, but then they don't. I mean, I was quite shocked because I seen that Adnan had been in Whalley Range, and then obviously Craig was in Whalley Range as well, and I was thinking, right, okay, I kept away from that because I didn't want to get in the fight, because obviously we also were fighting in the streets, all this going on. As a woman, I didn't want to get involved in that. I don't want my children seeing that on the internet, being scared. So I didn't get involved, that's why I didn't go. But afterwards, then when it's calmed down, I've gone with my leaflets, you know, hi. And they were like, you know what, we actually haven't decided and we're glad that you've come. We can ask you these questions. And, you know, a lot of them were saying, well, you know, we're not actually sure with Adnan. We're not sure with Craig either. And that was quite refreshing for me to hear that because I thought from what they were saying online is that we bagged it. And he's saying we've bagged it. But I haven't been hearing that, you know. And I know Adnan's been having meetings and he gets up to about 300 people turning up. But 300 isn't going to get you to win. And I know that Craig does his thing and I don't think he gets in the thousands, it's in the few hundreds. I haven't done that because I didn't want to waste the time and money, because obviously I've got to then feed these people, I have to do all of this where that money could actually go to somebody who actually needs it. I don't want to buy my votes. If you're going to vote for me, I don't feel that I should have to buy your meal for it.
Now, you know, obviously the controversy between Adnan and Craig, and then now recently Tiger Patel, which we'll ask you about in a minute. But the main thing I want to ask you is, what are your thoughts on Adnan and Craig controversy, and why did you choose to stay away from this?
Because I was part of the BWD party for independence at the time, and as far as I knew at the time, Craig was the one that they were all going to support, and then Adnan popped up. So in my head, it was going to be the workers. George Galloway came to Blackburn. I met him. I met Craig at the meeting. It was a BW event that we went to, It was all for Palestine. The balloons that were on the stage, I made those balloons on the stage.
Okay.
So I actually was, even though at that time I'd then been kicked out of their group, I still went and supported them behind the scenes.
What was the reason they kicked you out?
Because they told me that they would lose votes because of the charity works that I do.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so obviously that was it. Because Lancashire Council Mosques told them an ultimatum: either I stay and they don't support.
Do you think that was a good enough excuse?
No, it wasn't, because all of the people were in the same thinking. There was only a handful of them that felt that way. But the way they handled it was very horrible. They came to my house and really, really late. Give us our hoodies back. Give us our, the little rosettes back. And it was very horrible. It made me upset all day, and I'd not done anything. I'd literally not done anything. So it was a very upsetting time for the whole of the family. And we then decided, right, I'm going to stand. And they told me, whatever colour you choose, don't choose green, don't choose red, don't choose blue, don't choose yellow, because obviously they're the other party colours. So we came out with pink, and
Okay.
people think that's because we're feminists, but it's not. It's just because it's a nice colour. So
And you were limited with what colours you could pick as well.
Yeah. So, and I didn't want to go black. So what else could I have done, So I went with pink at that time, and having the hoodies taken away from me as well was really, really, because if anything, it was promoting them anyway.
Yeah.
So it was very horrible. So obviously we had to change my agent. So my husband stepped in straight away, but that shouldn't have happened. So it was really upsetting. But I still went to the event, and I still behind the scenes did all the balloons and everything, because I've volunteered before, and I always stick to my word. And if I say I'm going to do it, I will do it.
Yeah.
And
that's quite noble.
and even though and I'd bought the tickets, even though I could have gone for free, because I was standing at the time, but I'd bought my tickets to go as well. And I just feel that they did the dirty on me.
Yeah.
I still, on counting day, when they were getting elected, I was cheering them on, and I was wishing them all the best. When it came to my time, there was hardly anybody there stood.
Yeah.
So it just shows how how nasty politics can be in Blackburn. That's all I can say.
One thing that we do know is politics is very dirty behind the scenes. It's not what sin on face value. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of.
It's not, and until you get involved in it, you don't know. And and I do feel that Craig had the dirty done to him, but also I couldn't stand with Craig, because I don't believe in what the Workers' Party believes in. George Galloway, when I first met him, I thought, it seems all right, I had a picture taken with him. I think he's on my TikTok. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't have an issue with it. But then when I've looked into what he says, I was like, this doesn't actually sit right. I feel like he's using the Muslim vote to get to what he wants. And that's internally what I was feeling at that time.
With the issue that's going on between Craig and Adnan, have you taken a side of who you think is right, or are you not even picking between any of them, who's right and who's wrong?
You know what? Craig offered for me to go and sit with him. Well, the way they did it was they called me saying, we've found out that you want to join us. And I was like, well, no, I don't know who's told you that. But yeah, I'll come and sit with you. But, and we can talk about our differences and see where we're at on the spectrum. Adnan's group haven't, but his helpers have been contacting me, telling me, look, sister, don't go with Craig, you need to join Adnan. But Adnan himself has not contacted me.
Right.
I have Craig's number, so if I need to speak to him, I can do. Adnan hasn't. So for me, that doesn't sit right either. Secondly, if I favoured one over the other, I would be with that party, and I'm not. So obviously I don't favour either of them. I think I'm the better candidate.
So that completely voids my next question, which was, would you be willing to step down and join with any of them? Which obviously.
Well, I've spoken to my supporters, and obviously I don't have people wearing yellow shirts or people wearing navy blue shirts going out everywhere. They don't need to do that if they to vote for me, I just feel that all my voters that I've spoken to, I've said don't, because if you step down, it just shows that you're exactly the same as they are. It's not for Palestine. They don't want you to step down for Palestine. They want you to step down so they know that they're probably quite close, and your votes is going to help one of them win, and they just want to use you for that. But then I'm going to lose my followers who I am passionate about and I want to help. So do I want to put them through that? Like for them to actually think, well, she's as bad as everyone else? No, because that's not me.
Yeah, that brings me on to the next question.
Okay.
Tiger Patel. Recently, it's news that Tiger Patel stepped down and joined forces with Craig Murray. What are your thoughts on that? What happened? And do you think there's any motivation behind it?
Well, I know there's motivation behind it. I know he was pushed. I knew he wouldn't side with Adnan because obviously he was kicked out of the BW party as well. So I knew he wouldn't have sided with them for that reason. So then obviously it just leaves the Workers' Party. He never contacted me all the way through this, so I've never really spoke to him about what he wanted to do. All I know is that he's joined them, and I have been told that he is financially gained from that. And I've also found out that he paid for an advertising van to have voted Adnan on, which has really, really confused it because it just seems to me that he wants to keep both happy so that if he ever needs them for his own personal gain, he'll have faith and he can still go to both of them. That's what I feel.
It is a bit weird, I'm not going to lie. It's a bit weird, even for someone who's not really into politics, that one day Tiger Patel is going crazy on his own side.
Riding on a bike.
Yeah, he's doing his own stuff. He's really wanting to win this election. And for some reason, you wake up the next morning, you see him signing papers with.
Well, it happened in the middle of the night.
What happened? Literally, as a normal person, you'd think, what happened?
So this is what I'm saying, right? Okay, you're and we've labelled you now as the people's candidate.
Thank you.
So wouldn't Tiger being from Blackburn, wouldn't it make more sense for him to step down and join forces with you rather than anyone else?
Well, it would have done, and I would have gladly, because I thought that he seemed like a really good man, but his issues was he couldn't speak English, and for me that was the only thing that I had reservations for. But as a man, I know that he would go out if there was a drain blocked, he would go out and fix it, because I've heard that from a lot of people.
I can vouch for that. He's from my area.
Yeah.
And I know him, and he does help the community out a lot.
So then he should have really joined forces, and we should have joined together. But he never came to me, so obviously I can't say. And plus, I haven't got thousands of pounds to pay him to join me. So
look, no one's questioning the morals of Tiger Patel. I know, not from personally, but from people that know him personally, and yourself as well. That he's a good human. His heart is in the right place. He loves his community.
100%, yeah.
He loves his community. I'm just saying it would have made more sense for him to join.
100%.
Yeah.
100%, because I just feel that he does a lot that he can do, like physically. If he can do it, he'll go and do it.
Definitely.
And I've just said to you, like in my charity work, if somebody needs something painting, I'll go and do it. It's not.
Yeah. So you've got two people here that would actually
We
get
could
their
have really
hands
worked
dirty.
together really
Doing
well.
it for the community.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we've seen Tiger. I've seen him walking on the street picking up rubbish and stuff like that as well. So no, he's we're not questioning his morals or anything, but yeah.
But then there's another question that arises in my head, is that after he's come down off his candidacy and he's like supported Craig, then he's put the van out for Adnan, but then his banners have gone on walls as well. But he's not supposed to be in the race, so why is his banners going up? Because is that not confusing it even more?
Was this all after?
Yeah, his banners have gone up after
He signed off with Craig.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So it just doesn't.
There are certain
add
things
up
that
now.
need to be answered. We are in the process of trying to contact Tiger. I call him Tiger Uncle. We're trying to contact him to see if he wants to do an interview. I've not heard anything back yet. I can understand why you've decided to stay out. I can. It's very messy.
It's just
very messy.
it's very messy. And I just thought, I'm here for my community, which is Blackburn.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they want to see me getting involved in all this.
Blackburn has been in the news, and I'm talking social media news, recently because of all of this, and it's not really painting a good picture for the people of Blackburn. I mean, right now, if you were to ask someone at a vital point during elections, Blackburn, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's the place where the vote splitting's going on, and this and that. They wouldn't turn around and say, oh, that's the place, etc., or the good things.
Yeah.
But
I've heard that the first party to join the MP race was the Workers' Party, but then out of nowhere, Adnan came along,
Yeah.
and then Tiger came along.
Well, I think Tiger was
Tiger-
first.
Oh,
wasn't
he was with the
Tiger
Workers' Party,
declared
wasn't he?
First. No, no.
No, no,
Tiger
no,
declared it
no.
first.
Right.
No, actually, no. What happened was in March time, the BW party that was obviously we were promoting the councillors at the time.
Right.
Undercover, they was working with George Galloway to try and make a deal for Craig to be the main guy. And then, so all I know is that Craig was meant to be the main guy, and then Adnan popped up and Tiger popped up at about the same time. As soon as Adnan popped up, then Tiger popped up. And I was like, hey? And then I was like, well, to be fair, the truth is I don't believe that any of them three, are up for the role.
Okay.
So I'm going to stand up.
Right.
And that's, my family was like, you need to stand up because this is just a joke. And that's why I stood.
That's the most we want to ask
Yeah.
about controversy, because at the end of the day, you are your own person.
Yeah.
You've stayed away from the controversy. We just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah. And we've tried to stay
as neutral
with
as possible.
Yeah.
and Craig and yourself. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair if we were to push
Anyone
a second
per, yeah.
person
100%,
to
yeah.
do-
You've cleared up a lot of questions that we personally had as well about yourself. So thank you for that. Just to bring the interview to a close now, we've got some light-hearted questions for you.
Okay.
I'm guessing you're not much of a football fan.
Man United.
Oh, Man United, okay. So if I was to ask you one really important football question,
Okay.
who do you prefer, Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Do you prefer to drive, or do you like to be driven around?
I drive,
Right.
but it's nice to be driven around as well.
Rice or roti? What would you like? What would you prefer?
Rice.
Really?
Yeah.
On your days off, on Sundays, what do you like to do? Is it a lazy Sunday, or is it a productive, like you don't like to rest or anything?
I'm always busy with the charity, so I don't get time to rest.
Fair play.
Do you prefer to be dressed up or dressed down?
Press down.
Dressed down.
Yeah.
The Euros are going on right now. Will England be bringing it home?
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah,
I
definitely.
think it's about
Inshallah.
time.
Yeah, they need to.
Yeah.
NATASHA SHAH, thank you for inviting
Thank you
us
so
to
much.
your lovely home.
Thank you.
And inshallah, we will have more interviews in the future.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Jazakallah.